歡迎返嚟港孩在加，我係Juan。Is that right?
Yes, you can be the host.
Wow, thank you.
Oh yeah! 歡迎返嚟港孩在加，我係 Karen。今日咧就好榮幸可以請到Juan安安嚟做一個 interview 嘅，因為咧其實佢自己都係一個 immigrant 嚟嘅。好細個嗰陣咧，就由 Peru 嗰度移民，跟住屋企人移民咗過嚟呢度啦。咁今日咧就會同佢傾下佢咁多年喺加拿大嘅生活啦，同埋去分享一下工作同埋呢個返學嘅經歷嘅。咁Juan自己都有個 channel 嘅喎。What's your channel name and what do you do on your channel?
So my channel's called Wonderful World. Maybe I'll just put it up here. It's easier.
Or I will.
Yeah, and I basically provide immigration information for anyone in the world who wants to immigrate to Canada, and then I help people get in touch with immigration consultants to make it a bit easier. And that's mostly what I do. I might do some Canadian lifestyle videos, maybe about what it was like growing up as an immigrant, stuff like that, so that people might have more information before making the big trip over to Canada.
And remember to like, share 同埋 subscribe。咁我哋而家就開始呢個 interview 啦。So as I was just telling our audience before this, I was telling them that you came here as a child with your parents. You said it was around 3 to 4 years old.
Yeah.
And how was it like for you coming here?
It was easy. Probably the hardest part was getting rid of all of my toys as a kid. Like I left most of them in Peru. We actually donated most of them. And then it was really exciting flying over. I'd never been on a flight before. It was there was a lot of turbulence and like the masks came down, so I thought we were gonna crash.
Oh wow, that's bad. I've
Yeah.
never seen that.
It was great. I was playing on the ground with my dinosaur toys. I think I got in the seat after that turbulence.
Oh, okay.
And actually, because I was so young, when we arrived in Canada, after the first day, I look to my mom and I say, "Mom, are we going home now?" And it kind of like broke her heart because I didn't understand that I thought we were going for a day trip. So I don't actually remember this like next 1 week period, but apparently I got sick and I got really depressed and sad, but I don't remember it at all. And then after that, it was smooth sailing, honestly. To me, I remember it as being a really positive experience.
Okay, so for you, it only took a week for you to kind of get used to.
Yeah, from
Canada.
like 4 years old, like exactly 4 years old, basically, is when I came.
For me, it was 3 months. The first 3 months, it was.
You were born here.
I was born here, and then I went. I moved to Hong Kong for like 10 something years.
Yeah.
And then I came back, and then the first 3 months for me was tough, but then after the first 3 months I met friends and stuff and made connections, and it was a lot easier afterwards.
Yeah.
But you get over it, right? So after the first week, so it was kindergarten, right? You go right into kindergarten. So how was language for you then?
Language was it's kind of funny. So right when I arrived in Canada, obviously you start watching TV in the morning and it's all in English. I don't actually remember not knowing English that much. And I have pretty good memory of when I was 4 years old. And yeah, kids catch on really quick. Like they'll watch TV for a week and understand what's going on before you ever will. Well, I mean, unless your English is really good already, right? But for my parents, right, like I was way ahead of them in English. But it's funny because in my head, I didn't understand the concept that it was a whole other language. It was just that it was on TV and I could understand it. So there was like, conceptually, it was hard to understand that language was a thing, but learning English was really easy. I think I went to ESL class. That's, if you don't know, that's English second language. It's like a side program that kids are in when they're in school to help them learn English quicker, right? So they put me in that for 1 week and then I was out of it immediately. Because I was just too young. Young kids learn language quick.
Wow. So what was it like? So anything special that you would want to share during kindergarten that you remember it by heart?
My teacher asked me and I really regretted this choice for a long time. This haunted me, but my teacher asked me, do I want to be Juan, which is my Spanish name. It's pronounced Juan, right? Juan. But she asked me, do you want to be Juan or do you want to be John, which is the English version of Juan? And I didn't really understand what she meant. I was like, oh, but I'm Juan. What do you mean? So I went with Juan. And then probably growing up in Canada with a name like Juan, really my name became Juan. It sounds like more like the name One. Mm-hmm. It's why my name is On. It's more, it sounds more similar to that. So it was a little difficult in those years of like being a child to maybe becoming like 18 and now you're an adult, where I was like, man, I wish I would have just said John. But now that I'm older, I'm really happy that I stuck with my name Juan. So it's a good choice, but when you're growing up, it can be difficult to have a name that everybody's like, how do you say that? Juan? Quan? Some people call me Zuan, like with a Z.
Really?
I just say yeah. Yeah, that's it.
I mean, that's what makes you special, I think. Because in Canada, I think it was the first time ever hearing that name in Canada for me when I first met you. But it seemed to be quite a common name.
It's a really common name.
In the Spanish culture. Yeah, that makes it so unique.
It's so common.
Yeah. So after kindergarten, what would you say for the overall education system in Canada?
It was easy, I think. My brother had the same comment. My brother came when he was 6, so he was grade 1, and he already knew multiplication and division, which you learn in grade 3 here, I think. It might have changed now, right? I think now even in kindergarten you might start math, I think. Don't quote me. But I remember it being it's not that difficult. But it not in a bad way, right? It's more like it felt like there was a lot of priority put on growing up as a happy child so you can become an adult, like a happy adult. Because the curriculum is very relaxed, in my opinion. But how much do you really need to know before university, right? Like, the level still prepares you for university, like perfectly fine. Like, I went into university with a physics major, and I didn't feel like I didn't learn enough in high school. It was just the right level. But yeah, it felt relaxed. If you want to get ahead, like, there's always opportunities to get tutoring or do extra classes if you really want to, but I found the level was good. And also what I really liked, and this, I don't know why I understood this, but it's so cheap, right? Like, I remember like not having, like, they would give me a piece of paper, like, give this to your mom for school fees, and I would just forget.
Oh.
I don't think we paid for school fees for a lot of years.
What?
Yeah, because it's like $50.
Yeah,
it's so cheap, like right? I think that some parents forget.
If you're watching this, remember to pay your bills. Maybe your mom did pay, you just didn't know.
She probably did pay. Yeah, she probably did pay. I don't remember ever getting in trouble about it, though. But I mean, I'm a kid. Where are they going to tell me, where's your $50?
Yeah. So what was your high school life like?
Well, by the time I was in high school, I don't know that I would have a good I don't think that my high school perspective, like my experience, is really indicative of an immigrant's perspective in high school, because by that point I already considered myself Canadian, so Canadian that I would notice immigrants, like when you're in Canada for so long, like, it's hard to really tell who's an immigrant, because yes, there's white people, but there's also lots of brown people, black people, like Asian people. There's a huge mix. So by that point, I think my experience was just a fully Canadian one, where most of my friends were whoever I thought was fun to hang out with. Not really. I guess what I can say is the people who had arrived in Canada later in life, like around junior high school, they would generally hang out with people from their country, right? So there would be the Latino crowd, which I wouldn't really hang out with that much because they had come later. I'd been in Canada for so long that I would hang out with whoever. There would be, your Asian crowd, your Filipino crowd. Filipinos are very tight. I hung out with a lot of Filipinos. I don't know why. But other than that, I thought high high school was easy?
High school was kind of fun because when I came here, especially with math, I was like I've done everything they taught. So basically, especially math class, I would just like sit there and hang out with my friends at the back. And then once the test is here, it's okay, I'm gonna wing this. It feels really good coming after.
High school is funny. High school, I think I was a bad student. Yeah. I don't think I was a good student.
What?
I had like 150 absences or something.
How do you still graduate?
I don't know.
I really
don't know. Yeah, you're supposed to have maximum like 10, 15 or 20 or something like that.
Okay.
I had a lot of absences.
You know what? I don't know if this is good to mention, but you still got into UFC for physics.
But I got
afterwards.
into UFC for physics because and this is different now, but the average for physics isn't that high because there was a lot of kids like me, and I'm not saying I'm that smart, but like I met a lot of smart people in that major. A lot of them didn't care about high school because high school is too easy. It's like I was saying, like the downfall of the Canadian education system, if you just go to class and you don't do extracurricular activity, is that it's too easy. If you have a gifted kid, if you have a child who really needs to be challenged in school, it won't be enough. They might need some extra stuff, or maybe go to a private school would have more appropriate curriculum. But what I found was your average is 70% to get into physics. At least back then it was. But even still, like 9 people would graduate a year. And you know, like other programs you would have like 500 people graduate, not in physics. Like,
oh really?
It's really hard.
Oh,
it's hard when you're in the major.
Yeah.
To get in is easy, but it's like I said, it's easy to enter because you don't want to skip those kids who are smart. They just didn't really try because they were like, it's like, I get it. We're doing some like easy calculus or something, and you're like, why even go to class? You know what I mean? A little bit.
I guess.
Go to class. It's much better.
Yes. Stay in school.
Just go to class. Yeah. But maybe that's a big point of what going to school is like in Canada. There's a lot of opportunity to grow up. People can pursue what they want. If you want to be a musician or spend your time doing sports, there's a lot of opportunity to change or make your lifestyle fit your schoolwork. A lot of people would start bands and go into sports, and their school curriculum would sometimes go around that. Like they would accommodate that. You know, they would say, oh, this guy is in hockey and he's in AAA. AAA is like the highest level of hockey, which there's a lot of hockey players. They might give them a little more leniency in terms of assignments to fit their schedule for hockey a bit more. Because if you become a hockey player, you're making millions of dollars here anyways, you know?
Mm-hmm. So basically in Canada, it's not all about the marks you get on paper. It's also about other extracurricular stuff. If you're good in sports, you're good to go.
Extracurriculars are huge. Even later, even in grad school, extracurricular is way more important than your GPA.
So if we move on to talking about university now, what was it like for you in your experience in UFC?
So much fun. I went late, actually. I took some years off.
Oh, you did?
Which is actually kind of common in Canada. Yeah, I took some years off. I started a band with some friends. We made music.
I'm gonna plug this.
No, you don't have to plug it.
Okay.
It is fun because I still receive money. Every now and then I will receive checks from royalty. So I'll always make a little bit of money.
That's fun. Okay.
But university was great. There's a lot of clubs. I was in the Physics and Astronomy Students Association, which is it's like this huge club room with a bunch of nerds, and we have like 3 blackboards and a bunch of whiteboards, and everybody's doing their homework together, but there's video games and there's a lot of couches. I took a lot of naps in university.
You stressed out a lot. Even
a lot of
sleeping.
sleeping. Lots of room to sleep in this country. Yeah, no, actually.
You make it sound so laid back.
It's so laid back. It is, compared to like Peru. Like, I remember my brother talking about the Peruvian school system. It's hard. It's really hard. But anyway, sorry. Yeah, there's lots of clubs, but what I love the most about it was it's, at least at the University of Calgary, it's really easy to go study abroad. As long as you have, if you're going for physics, you're going to need a higher GPA, but if you're going for most things, you need like a 2.7 out of 4 to go to most schools. So I had the opportunity to, for my third year, study in Japan at Waseda University, which was really fun. And then I also got to study in Korea at Yonsei University, which was pretty nice. And so honestly, I think most universities, I would assume, have programs like this, but if you go to UFC, I really recommend trying out the student exchanges for sure.
And you said it was affordable too, right?
It was yeah. You the way it works is you pay for your tuition as you would normally, and somebody in the school you're going to pays for their tuition normally, and then you just trade spots. I was considering in my fourth year going on this like anthropology trip to study monkeys in Africa just for fun, but it just didn't work with work because I was already working at the time. In university in Calgary, I imagine it's similar in most countries, but there's a lot of room to talk to your professors and see what research they're doing and get involved. And you can actually, during the summer, you could probably work every single summer in your major under some professor doing some project, you know, like we had some projects that were partnered up with NASA, you know, and you get paid for that stuff as a student. It's really great. And then all those extra things that you do, if your child wants to go to grad school, like those are the important things, right? If you want to go to grad school, a good GPA is going to get your foot in the door, but knowing all those professors and stuff and having experience in your field, like that's what will, you know, get you actually in.
Were these opportunities presented to you, or did you actually reach out and find these on your own?
One of them, it was more of a reaching out because we created a project out of thin air for the one, but the faculty will email you almost weekly, almost in an annoying way. They'll be like, there's a new program at CERN, or there's a new program in America or in Norway. You can shoot rockets in Norway, Oslo, Norway. It's really cool. They go every year. There's so many opportunities for whether you want to be more involved at the actual school as like a student, like a kind of an almost teacher's assistant, but not quite. If you want to get more involved in selecting the professors, there's so much opportunity for all that stuff. But that's physics. I don't know how it works in engineering. I would imagine UFC is an engineering school. I would imagine there's a bit more red tape or something because there's so many students. In physics, there's so few of us that the professors are probably like, oh yeah, you can just come in, fine. You can help me do the easy stuff.
That's nice. So they're tight. Your guys' physics.
Yeah, it's bigger now, but it's tighter. Yeah, it's quite tight.
I remember because I went to UFC as well.
Yeah.
But I remember one of the things that I really enjoy doing at the time was to actually look at the posters. Like there are random people would be wanting to sell their car, and then they would put like a poster of that, and you can just take like a slip of their phone number. Some people would be renting out their apartments, and then one of the things that I always look for, not those, but is being a lab rat. I would deliberately look for the posters that's offering money and wanting you to be their subject to experiment. Those are so much fun. You get paid.
That's a lot of those, yeah. Especially for like sociology, psychology.
Yeah, those are a lot of fun.
It's school here is great. It's really relaxing. Like if we ever have kids or something, I would for sure tell them go to university just for fun. Like even if they don't want to go for anything specific,
and
just for networking, you get to meet people your age, and there's 10,000 people there at one time, right? So
after school, let's also talk about work, because you said you're actually working and going to school at the same time, and I know that you had a chance to actually work in different areas, countries in the world as well. And how did you get to do that?
While I was in school, I don't know how I did this, but I was working as part of a construction company that was building the school.
Oh.
So yeah, I built some grad residences. So if you ever go to U of C and you stay at the graduate apartments, I probably built it. A bunch of renovations around the university. So I would show up at the university at like 6 in the morning, work until my first class, which would be around between 9 to 2, depending. Because I had been with this construction company long enough that they were just like, yeah, you know, come in, build, go. Mm-hmm. And so I did that for a little bit, and then maybe it's the fault of my student exchange, but when I was living in Japan for a year, I really fell in love with climbing. I found climbing while doing a science project while I was actually working as a scientist. I found climbing, and I fell in love with it, and I was like, I'm just gonna do this instead of physics. Mm-hmm. Is that what you were asking about?
Yeah, I think it's a good story to let people know how you found your passion.
Yeah. My passion career.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, we're doing other things now, but like YouTube and other secret projects.
Yes, we're not going to tell you yet, so stay tuned.
Canada's a really great place. Like, so I started climbing, and if you don't know, it's like rock climbing, but inside. You know, you can do it outside still, but inside is where you make money. And I just had this idea in my head. I want to be what's called a route setter. It sounds really dumb. It's the person who puts the holds on the wall in a climbing gym.
It's the person that designs the gym, I think.
Yeah, it's like
designs the routes of the gym.
You design the customer experience in a gym, basically. Yeah. The career didn't really exist, but now it does. Like, now I have a salaried position with benefits in this random, I don't know what to call it, like, industry. It's really hard at the bank when they're like, so what do you do for work? And I guess
it's
I categorized it as sports entertainment.
Yeah,
because it had no category for it.
It is. I think it's just the way you explain it. If you tell people that you're the person that designs the wall in the gym, they would instantly go like, oh, I see, because that's how I explain it to my friends. Like, they ask me what Juan does, I'm like, he's a manipulator on the wall.
I manipulate the wall.
Yeah.
And through that, I'm able to travel to, I've mostly worked in the States and in Asia, but there's a lot of opportunities if you just ask other gyms. If you're traveling to just work in like Austin, I've been in Denver. I sat in Hong Kong a tiny bit, Japan, a lot in Korea. And basically just anytime we go traveling, I always ask Karen, like, can we just check out, I might see if I can work at the climbing gym. Because you make a lot more money when you travel instead, right? Because it's contract work, but anyways, maybe if that highlights anything about Canada, it would just highlight that you can do whatever you want here. You know, like, if you have a dream to be a professional food taster, like, this is the place to do it. I'm certain you can do it here somewhere.
Definitely, because a lot of immigrants, or even people that are Canadians but went back to Hong Kong and now wanting to come back here to live their lives, a lot of them are worried about job opportunities and stuff, right? So here you're telling us about your story and telling us that you can actually do whatever you want. There are a lot of freedom.
Anything. Like, and I think we're finding that out now too.
Yeah.
Like, secret projects in the works.
Yeah.
My advice, if you're technically, we're not allowed to give you actual immigration advice. We can provide you with information. If you want real advice, let us know. We'll connect you to a consultant.
I mean, you can also do it yourself. It's also an option. Yeah, we're not here to push you to get a consultant. If you can do it yourself, do it yourself. But if you can't, like some people that are maybe older in age and they don't know other ways to do it other than a work permit or a study permit, they do seek consultations, and it's okay if you want to do that, or you can do it on your own. It's completely up to you.
Yeah, I would just say if you're going to do it on your own, be ready.
But once you're here, it's all good.
Yeah, so back to Canada. Canada for me really feels like, I'm not saying it's the perfect country, it's not. But what I would say is if you are trying to find work, really it might be easier to create work than to find it. Like if you are experienced enough in your craft and you feel like making a small business, Canada I think is a good place to do it because there's a lot of support for small businesses that can help you out, especially during COVID. It might be different if you start the company right now, but I think Canada is a great place if you want to just make anything happen. Yeah. And you know, and that's not just because we're kids. To give you an example, my parents, we came from Peru. My mom started working like $5 an hour, you know, back then when we first showed up in Canada. Like my dad's quality of life and my mom's quality of life compared to what it would have been if they had stayed in Peru. And I know that this doesn't compare to Hong Kong because I think Hong Kong's a really nice place. Hong Kong is nicer than Peru by a long shot. Like money-wise, Peru's a beautiful country and I love it. But what I would say is that what they've been able to do for themselves in the 20 years that they've been here, 25 years, is huge. Like, I don't know that the size of their house is really 100% indicative of how much money you have because you can get mortgages, but they do have really nice houses, nice cars. My mom went through a period of where for some reason when I was growing up and still living there was 9 cars in the house. 4-car garage, 9 cars, and I had this moment where I was like my mom doesn't know how to use a printer sometimes. How did this happen?
Well,
she'll be like, how do you work the TV? And I'll be like, well, how do you do that? How did this happen? But yeah.
It's magic.
Yeah, and then right now she actually just went back to her vacation home in Mexico just because they feel like it.
Yeah, and in Canada or even in the US, a lot of people like to do that. Is to have a second home somewhere else. It's somewhere like Mexico, Cancun,
Phoenix for some reason.
Yeah, I heard that too. Yeah, so you can kind of escape the cold weather. Yeah. And go somewhere else during the winter.
And my parents aren't rich. Like it sounds like a rich lifestyle, but they're not rich. You just pluck away a little bit, save some money, make sure you have some investment accounts going, and boom.
Okay, so if you were to give someone advice, someone that wants to come to Canada right now, either to immigrate to Canada or to come back as a Canadian citizen, what would your advice be?
I would say start today. And that doesn't mean open an express entry account. It means figure out what you need to do, whether it's on your own or through a consultant, because it takes time, you know? And if you're not gonna immigrate this year because of COVID, then study English or study French, because for example, your CRS score, you can get a lot of points for just being a master in one, and then even more points for knowing the other one, like either English or French, like a little bit. So I would say just, you know, start the process because it takes time. Processing times are long. You can find some programs where they're shorter, but processing times are long. And if you're not doing that right now, study and then up your chances of getting here. And then if you don't immigrate in the end, at least you will have increased your abilities in English or French, you know? What's the downside there? You know, I think anyone watching this video is capable of coming here. There's so many options of which I can't advise you on legally anyways. But I can say that, start today. Don't wait.
Wow, very inspiring. If you guys want more of Juan, remember to subscribe to his channel right here.
Yes, please subscribe. Support me.
記得 like, subscribe 同埋 share。咁我哋下次見。
Bye bye.